Hello everyone and welcome back. This is the Losers Round 1 matchup. Actually it'd be Losers Round 2 matchup between Hooma and gunnerdude, and no, that is not a mistake. This is actually Losers Round 2, as gunnerdude was technically disqualified in this match, and we later found out that what we thought was cheating was actually just a glitch, and it's been affecting pretty much everybody in the tournament. So we are actually going back and they're replaying these matches so that we can be fair to him as he was disqualified unfairly. So we're here at Rice Fields. It was actually gunnerdude over here in red that chose the map, and he's over as the Mori. He has a frontline spear wall, only 2 Yari Ashigaru supported by 5 elite katanas and a bunch of cavalry, including Great Guard. Meanwhile, Hooma has a nice little core of katanas, no vets though, along with some Yari Samurai, a Yari Hero, and 2 Naginata monks, along with a decent amount of cavalry. Slight cavalry advantage. Actually, it's a pretty decent cavalry advantage over here for gunnerdude, having 6 cavalry to Hooma's 4. But interestingly, Hooma has 2 bows. I think they're both samurai, yeah. 2 bow samurai, so might be planning on skirmishing here. And with the matchlocks, it's going to be tough. The matchlocks will be able to get some good shots off, but it's really hard to skirmish when your enemy has so much cavalry. But if you lure his cavalry in early and maybe kill it, it could leave him with a bit of an advantage, because I think he will need the cavalry to win this one. I mean, 4 elite katanas is pretty huge, especially because there isn't a whole lot of maneuvering he can do up against the front line of that spear wall with so much cavalry that are now on his flanks. So Hooma is in a bit of a tight position here, though he is not the designated attacker, so he could, in theory, kind of sit back and maybe wait for a good engagement, but the bow cavalry, I guess I should have mentioned, from gunnerdude have already started shooting. Now this is a new battle, so it's just fought, so there should be no replay or no corruption in this one, as the patch was about a week ago, unless there was another little patch that I'm not aware of. This should be fine. So the Great Guard was trying to slip around here for Hooma in blue, but didn't quite get in there. Only took a couple shots from the matchlocks, but the Yari cavalry coming to support, and the general looks like he wants to have a little cav battle early and maybe try and tip the battle in his favor. As gunnerdude's cavalry is split up here, he could potentially take out this whole wing of cavalry and give his army a lot of room to work with, as he has no cavalry coverage, as these 2 Yari Ashigaru will be up in the front being a spear wall. He's really got to get his Naginatas in the action here, because here comes the Yari cavalry, or maybe he's trying to lure him in to hit his katanas. Actually, he's got Nodachi up in the front, excuse me. Hit the Nodachis and the katana, and maybe have the Yari hero come in and clean up, so it could be very interesting. It looks like Hooma's winning the cavalry engagement here, as the morale's in the red here for gunnerdude's Great Guard. Ooh, but he's wavering a little bit. Looks like Hooma will win the cavalry battle on this side, but at what cost? And here it is. It could have just been a trap, because the Naginata monks are coming in to swarm the cavalry, and if he could get a good flank off here, he could neutralize gunnerdude's cavalry early, which would put him in a big advantage, even though he's got a pretty tough infantry fight ahead of him. If he has the cavalry, that's going to be all that matters. Those big charges in the rear, he has nothing to stop it. Gunnerdude, that is. I mean, he has literally no spears besides the Yari Ashigaru, which will easily be tied down in the frontline action. So the cavalry in here is left in the melee, and it looks like they will fall. The Nodachis took a big hit down to 74 men, and the Katana Samurai here is down to 69, but he still has plenty of infantry. I mean, it was a big hit to those 2 units, but he still got a lot. The cavalry managed to get up to the matchlocks here, who are now wavering. They'll probably rout soon. Yari Ashigaru caught way out of position, maybe chasing the cavalry, and the katanas will be able to clean these guys up, not in spear wall. Should be no problem here for the katana. There they go, they already routed. So there goes one of the Yari Ashigaru. The other one's just sitting tight, guarding against the cavalry. The cavalry have one over here for Hooma, so now he has quite a bit of cavalry, 3 units, against an army that's going to be pretty much defenseless against them. Matchlocks already getting some good shots off, though. He should definitely be moving these katanas up to try and get there. They go. They did break, so that threat is gone. Definitely, I think the Yari hero should be right up here. If he can catch gunnerdude all clumped up here in the middle, this Yari hero will be able to tank for ages and give plenty of time for the cavalry to come and win this battle. But Hooma's being a little conservative right now, which I think is good. I think the momentum's in his favor, and he doesn't want to try and risk something that would really screw him over and maybe make a bad move. Speaking of bad moves, Yari Ashigaru running up here in a charge, not in spear wall. Looks like they're getting in spear wall now, but it's going to be too late. I think the Katana Samurai are going to just saw right through these Ashigaru. No, they are in fact retreating, so they are not in spear wall. Definitely should be giving chase right now. Gunnerdude's serious in disarray, and that means he's all clumped up here, which means the katanas can come in and just saw this army to pieces, and 1 or 2 big cavalry charges can easily seal this. The Yari cavalry's in the rear, holding down the Katana Samurai. A little early for that cavalry use, I think, but he's going to do some pretty good damage with it, and he does have the numbers to back it up. His infantry is spreading out nice and wide. He's going to get the encircle here, so I think Hooma's going to turn a bad situation on his head and pull out the win in this one. There's still plenty of units for them to get to, and that's a lot of elite katanas. There were 5 units of them. Now down 1, 2, 3. Only counting 4 here right now. What happened to the 5th one? Yari Shigaru seems to have routed. The Matchlocks are trying to flank, but they just don't have a good firing angle at this point. The Nodachis are waiting for good engagement as well. The Matchlocks will be taken out by the Yari cavalry. General's down to 23 men. The general's dismounting here for Hooma, and the Naginata monks are moving into position maybe for that death blow. The general's in stand to fight, and this will be close, and those elite katanas really are hammering through and doing a good job. The general's now dismounting for gunnerdude, who's in danger a little bit. Both samurai are shooting still as well. Rally's been activated. As both samurai might have enough time to do some damage. The cavalry, if he loses all his cavalry here, Hooma will be in a bad position. He's got to try and grind this one out if he doesn't have those. But the war cry could be big. He's got to drop those war cries soon. We did hear some bonsais coming off from the Nodachis. A big Nodachi charge could be cavalry right now. And get a big shock in, especially so clumped up right here in the middle. These Nodachis get a big charge off this whole clumped route, including the general, which could be huge. Bonsai is active. We're watching this charge. This will be the decisive moment of the battle. Again, he get a big charge off. Doing decently well. Going out, the morale is in the red here for the Katana Samurai down to half strength. This Nodachi's totally fighting 104 men. There's the wavering. It's going to be close. The Matchlocks are still firing here. And the general is getting back on his horse. I think that's wise. I think he really needs these big shock moments right now. Getting back on the horse and charging, I think, is a good moment right here. It might be too late. Oh, and gets out of the way for the Matchlocks too, which is good. The Matchlocks. There it is. This whole center's collapsed. The Nodachis have done their job coming in with that really decisive charge. And it looks like Hooma will clean this up. The general's nice and safe now, away from the Matchlocks. The Bow Samurai are still firing. Actually, the Bow Samurai here were up in melee, just holding them down. There's a good use of your bows like that. Sometimes in desperate situations, they gotta hold them down. That's why I love Bow Samurai. They can stand and fight in melee pretty respectably. I mean, they usually won't win, but they can hold the enemy down for these decisive charges. General moving in and out on the charges, but more wavering. And now Hooma's gonna get sandwiched here, so this is gonna be very, very close. But this charge could seal it. These units here are in red morale and wavering, along with the Matchlocks, which are being shot with fire arrows now, as we can see in the background. There goes one Katana Samurai. Another's gone as well, down to one last infantry unit, and Hooma is going to pull this out just barely. And what a great victory, because he was really in a bad spot. I think his army wasn't quite suited for rice fields, maybe. Maybe it was so much in bows, I mean. But putting all that money into melee like gunnerdude did, like you should on this map, really put him in a strong position. But Hooma was very wise and had some good engagements. I'll see you back in the main venue. And there it is. Hooma takes game number 1 on visiting ground too as well. As gunnerdude shows the map, and we're looking at the numbers, not quite telling the story here, because Hooma lost 1,255 out of 1,440. Gunnerdude actually lost a smaller proportion of his army. Actually, yeah, I think it was, with about 1,277 lost out of 1,530. So very interesting, but it's the morale that matters, way more important than numbers. And Hooma had the positioning to pull that off. Really clutch last-ditch charges. And it's sort of a contradiction, being very patient and aggressive at the same time. Knowing when to engage, knowing where to strike is very important. Knowing what your enemy has that's going to win in the battle, and what you need to get off the field so you can win it. By taking out that cavalry early, he had the freedom of movement to come in and do all that damage with his cavalry, which he needed to win that battle. As we saw, going into the infantry battle, Hooma was still at a pretty big disadvantage, and once those elite katanas engaged, they were just tearing right through Hooma's army, and if we didn't have that cavalry there free to move in the rear, it would have been a very different story, I think. And gunnerdude, I think, jumped the gun a bit with his spear. Should have kept him in that spear wall for the initial infantry engagement, or kept him back to guard against cavalry. Either way would have been better than throwing him up against the infantry, not in spear wall. Imagine if they had been in a wall there blocking that cavalry even. Probably would have been a very different story. So, very close battle nonetheless. But Hooma pulls out with the win. A very impressive win, I have to say. Very exciting match. Can't wait for game number 2. I will see you there. Thanks for watching, everybody.